nerderotic.com.
Welcome back to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And this is going to be a fun one. We're talking about Doctor Who and shipping. No, not that package you got from Columbia. We're talking about the romantic shipping going on with Yaz and the 13th Doctor and the hashtag Thasmin, and how it's this big popular movement on Twitter and YouTube. Or is it? Unfortunately, we have to go to Bleeding Cool, with apologies to my friends at Bleeding Fool and apologies to my browser, which might crash from all the ads. From Bleeding Cool, Doctor Who's Mandeep Gill is totally cool with Thasmin, where Dr. Yaz shipping might go. A new meme has emerged from the 11th series of BBC's Doctor Who, Thasmin, the shipping of the 13th Doctor and her female companion, Yasmin Khan, Mandeep Gill, as a romantic couple. LGBTQ fans coined the term after the third episode when Yaz's mother first asked Yaz if she was dating Ryan, and after they both said no, she asked if Yaz was with the Doctor. Honestly, that one just went right by me, as it should. The Doctor's response was, "I don't know, are we?" While Yaz could only offer the exasperated response that they're just friends. Again, I completely missed that one because I don't watch Doctor Who to see who's hooking up. Metro UK interviewed Gill recently, and she had this to say about it. "I'm aware of it now, but at the time of filming, it was never a thing. It must have been natural chemistry between Jodie and myself." Yeah, who couldn't miss the sparks flying from that scene? So much so I completely missed it. Fans became excited that this suggested that Yaz was bisexual, which would make her the first bi companion. Captain Jack doesn't count since he described himself as omnisexual, which means he was up for getting with not just men and women, but also any sentient species that was up for it, and it wasn't just male or female. The idea that Yaz might get together with the Doctor set all the LGBTQ fans' hearts aflutter. That Jodie Whittaker played the line, "Are we?" like she was perfectly willing to give it a try, added fuel to the lit match of slash fiction that was about to be launched across fandom. After it came out, I was like, wow, I didn't even think that was a thing, because it's not. Gill said, "I didn't think it was a thing until I saw people mentioning it online. It must have been thousands. It must have been millions. This hashtag must have been trending." More on that later. Oh my God, I cannot believe you assumed Yaz's sexuality like that. How do you know she's not omnisexual? She's only been going out into space for one season. Maybe next season we'll see her scissoring with a Slitheen. If you just search Doctor Who Yaz on YouTube, you find over a dozen fan-made Yasmin videos. I lost count after 35. I thought a dozen was 12. Oh well. And that was just the first page of results. The funniest one is the first video, which puts together all the times the Doctor called out Yaz's name throughout Series 11. And see what happens when you search Thasmin on Twitter. Well, hey, let's do that. Now, I'm going to go to YouTube as the author of this article suggests and search Doctor Who and Yaz. And here we see there is certainly a lot of videos. Now, not all of them are related to Doctor Who and Yaz, and the first one is indeed the Doctor saying Yaz's name over and over again. Not sure if that's a shipping video. All of them range between 600-700 views to 4,000 to 5,000. The highest number I've seen is 12,000 views. And considering you're on a social platform that has about 1 billion people with the biggest show in the world, I wouldn't consider that very much, but there certainly are over 30 videos on this. Now, if we go over to Twitter and do the hashtag Thasmin, we only get one page and some repeated tweets at the end. Let's read a couple of these. OMFG, when I was convinced this was a rubbish day, hashtag Thasmin rises. This Valentine's Day just got perfect. Then we have this. Now, this picture got the most likes, which is kind of funny because it got more likes than Bleeding Cool's article got shares. Doctor and Yaz are great. I mean, they could be in love, or maybe it could just be a great friendship. Either way, I ship and adore them as friends too. Hashtag Thasmin. Again, this was just one page and none of these tweets got a lot of likes. So I am going to say it's not really a thing. It sounds like it's a bit forced, like everything else is in this show and in entertainment these days. But let's get back to Yaz possibly being the first bisexual character in Doctor Who. Clearly she's not, despite what the author suggests. Captain Jack is the first bisexual character in Doctor Who. Because unless he's screwing a toaster, That's what he is on Earth. He's also the first pansexual character. Thank you very much, Lando. Part of the new Who series was they brought in relationships. That's what makes it different from the older one. But we can't assume the sexuality of any of the other previous companions, can we? So it's kind of an irrelevant argument. Nobody's going to be sitting on the face of Bo anytime soon. But this is what's ruining television. What this author suggested was it's the first bisexual character. And what the BBC and what CBS and what Disney is trying to do is satisfy these writers. These writers constantly bringing this stuff up, thinking that this is what actual fans want. Now I'm going to read one more paragraph here because it does make a decent point that I semi-agree with. I have a theory. One big reason there's so much shipping for the Doctor and Yaz, again, there's not that much shipping, amongst fans is because we've gotten so little personal stories for both the Doctor and Yaz this season. The Doctor may have her name as the title of the show, but so often she's a plot device and a supporting character in this season on her own show. She didn't get a season-long arc to explore or reveal her character, which is what fans have found lacking. One of the many things, and I will actually agree with a little bit of a Bleeding Cool article, but don't get used to it. The next paragraph says basically the same thing about Yaz, that she was a big nothing in this series, which she was. So her theory is that the fans, the 5s and 10s of them out there, are filling in the blanks with shipping because she feels that the Doctor and Yaz were not developed enough, which they were not. Now the question has to be asked, why? How did this happen? Well, is it the actors weren't talented enough, so the writers had to dumb down the scripts, or the writers aren't talented enough, or maybe diversity and politics were such a priority that the story got lost? I think the latter is probably the answer, and that's why you don't do this, but they're not listening to us. The makers of these franchises are trying to check every box on the checklist before they write a story. We need to get back to good old-fashioned storytelling and organically put stuff like gay relationships in later as they fit, and then people will respond to them better and you will have a more popular show. I keep hearing that this show is a hit, and this is where I go back to disagreeing with Bleeding Cool. The rating success of the 11th series can only be a good sign, one that Gil appreciates. It feels amazing. It is a hard time to get views because of the BBC iPlayer and things like that. There's so much happening and there's so much on, but it shows that people are still watching this show that has been going on for years. Hits don't lose 40 to 50% of their audience by the end of a season. They will find out in Series 12. Everybody will find out. And I think it's funny that they will notice something like this. They will bring up the hashtag of Thasmin to Jodie Whittaker, bring it up to Mandeep Gill, address Thasmin, and they will respond to it like it's a thing. But when people bring up the Backlash, which has videos attached to it with hundreds of thousands of views and hashtags with hundreds and maybe thousands of tweets, they'll just call it a small minority, and it's not really that important and nothing to listen to. And when eventually are they going to listen to us? Well, it'll probably be too late, but when people stop watching, which I predict is now. I think apathy is kicking in. Just look at the recent award show, the National Television Awards, which this series, Jodie Whittaker and Doctor Who Series 11, was made to win. I thought this was popular. I thought this was a hit, but it didn't win. I think that says it all. Recently, this was brought to my attention on Twitter. A company called Abbyshot, and I don't mean to throw any shade on them or their employees. By all accounts, it looks like a great company and they offer great stuff, but they can only sell what the BBC provides. This time around, they provided the 13th Doctor's replica coat for cosplay for women and men, and they have to get a certain amount of pre-orders before they can put the coat into production. They didn't even get half the pre-orders they needed for either men or women. In contrast, Peter Capaldi's made it in record time, and they were able to produce the jacket. That, I think, is yet another small sign that things are not going as well as the BBC is telling us. Again, I do not have a problem with them alluding to relationships between companions, or even with the Doctor and Doctor Who, and I don't care what the sexuality is, as long as it's just alluding to it. Again, I don't think we're going to see any sex on the TARDIS, so it doesn't really matter. What they need to focus on is sci-fi, monsters, entertaining people, being thrilling, a little more action, please, not being boring and filled with soap opera drama or one-sided politics. But that's what you get when the background of your writers is soap operas and political plays. So no, Thasmin is not a thing. Yasmin is not a thing. She's barely a thing in the show. And I have to say, I don't have anything against people doing this online. Have your fun. Do your hashtag. It's harmless. But the thing is, the BBC is going to listen to the few thousand of you and not listen to the ever-growing number of fans who are disgruntled with this show. And that's why we are getting the current show that we get. You know what? Screw it. I'm done fighting. I'm right there with you. Let's ship. Let's ship all the way. I want to see some hot Zygon Sontaran love. I want to see what those suckers can really do. Let's actually have the Cybermen and the Daleks get it on. I want to see that plunger go into places I couldn't even conceive. You win. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I'm really surprised you listened this long. Go to nerdrotic.com. Have a great day, and may the small folks sing songs of your greatness.
nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Also want to shout out my friend Joe, who inspired this video, and my good friend Bowles Trek. Both have channels. Links will be in the description. Check them out.